And in this election, what we saw was my successor, the former president, violate that core tenet that we count the votes and then declare a winner, and fabricate and make up a whole bunch of hooey. If we don't stop these kinds of efforts now, what we are going to see is more and more contested elections. Contested not in the sense of healthy competition, but contested in terms of who wins, who loses. We are going to see a further delegitimizing of our democracy. And not only are we going to see more unfairness in terms of results and who is represented and who isn't, but we are going to see a breakdown of the basic agreement that has held this magnificent democratic experiment together all these years. And the only thing that's preventing that from happening is our sense of urgency and our willingness to do everything we can to prevent it. What's happened over the course of a couple of decades and has been gaining speed is those who feel threatened by the idea that everybody has a seat at the table and everybody has a voice, they have done their darndest to see if they can roll that progress back. And sometimes it's been subtle and sometimes it hasn't been so subtle. And over the last several years, what we've seen are at least two major strategies to reduce the impact of universal suffrage and everybody having the right to vote. Number one, pretty straightforward efforts to just suppress the vote and to discourage the vote. We're the only advanced democracy in the world in which we deliberately try to make it hard for people to vote and go out of our way to make it as complex and difficult and discouraging for poor people, people of color, students, folks who have to punch in and take public transportation and don't have a lot of free time and flexibility on their jobs to be able to vote. And so there have been a slew of various tactics, starting with voter ID laws and so forth, that just make it harder. That's been one strategy. The second strategy is the one that NDRC directly addressed, and that is the issue of gerrymandering. We have seen over the last decade or two, the Republican Party in particular embracing this particular strategy with great gusto and little shame. Such that, right now in Congress, generally speaking, Democrats have to win 4 or 5% extra votes just to get this representation that they would normally get if there was just a fair, nonpartisan, allocation of seats. And that's what NDRC was founded on, was to fight that particular pernicious strategy of weakening people's votes.